All right. Listen, it is 9 o'clock on the nose. It is February 16th. It is not 6:30 in the morning. But figured, hey, I've been chatting with the Alpha team and we've been going over strategies and been in here since about 6 something in the morning. And I'm like, you know what, let's do a 6:30 club because I'm sure a lot of people are trying to figure out what to do next. We had the CPI on Tuesday and they did a big shot across the bow. They brought the market down to the lows and then a 330 a buy program came in. And if you would have shorted that rally and you stayed stubborn and shorting the SPYs and the Qs and the IWMs and all those from Wednesday till now, you got your clock cleaned. But listen, if you took positions down on Tuesday because you thought maybe it could be the start of a corrective phase, I hear you. I did the same thing. But then on Wednesday, once we started to enter those gaps, remember we started talking about those gaps, meaning what are gaps? The holes in the chart from Tuesday. If the sellers had power, they would have been able to protect them. Instead, on Wednesday, we started getting in those gaps, and that's kind of how you had to, switch gears and figure out how to put some longs back on and not fight the tape. Let's see, is anyone in the comment section? Is this live? Let's see, are we live? Are we live? I know you guys aren't used to this. There you go, T2 Live's in. Hey, what's the Alpha team could hear me? All right, what's up, what's up? All right, so let's go right to the charts real quick. So here is a chart of the SPYs, right? The SPYs, remember that the gap that I was telling you about? Well, this gap was right here, right? This was post CPI, and it got filled. So once this got into the gap, all of a sudden you had to say, hey, these sellers don't have power, and I better just, hey, there you go. There's Jen, there's Andrew. What up, Tony? What up, this? So right there, this is the spot you had to switch gears, okay? If you got out of everything, or a lot of, because we broke below the 8-day, I get it. I reduced a lot of risk also. It's just the way the market is. But then on Wednesday, once we got above this pivot, you had to say, hey, the sellers don't have control to keep that gap open, to give you the clues that there's a hole and there's nobody buying dips. Well, they came in and they bought the dips here, okay, and they came in and bought the dip in the Qs. This gap also got filled. Here was the gap. When gaps get filled, there's no meaning to them except for it's a good gauge to get long and get opportunities or etc. And then even the IWM. Look at that. The gap was right here and got filled and it made a higher high. So chances are this IWM, which we showed you, coming into 2024, which had a nice move, created a bit of a bull flag. Now it definitely looks on its way to 212 at some point, which was one of my targets. Let's see, what's the SPYs doing right now? Let me just put that up as we're watching. SPYs are only down 42 cents. All right, so SPYs don't really care as of now. I definitely would. I'd rather, to be honest, I don't want the SPYs. What I want in the market is to just get above 502.20, get above 503.50, and continue. The PPI was kind of hot. There's stagflation talk now out there. There's also more talk about Goldilocks, et cetera, but after this type of move, instead of causing a pain trade and so fast and furious, it'd be better if we just kind of hang around. So right now the SPYs are down 38 cents. For me, I actually sold some 503 and 504 calls at the end of the day to take in some premium. So that was my hedge because I still have a bunch of things I'm managing. What am I managing? Well, if you guys remember midweek, I said Netflix. Look at that. Isn't that a pretty picture? Huge gap up. So that gap never got filled. So that gap meant something. Okay, if you remember earlier in the week, I'm like, I think you could buy 580 calls for a breakout if this market's going to continue. And that's what it did. Let me move this back because all you do is see my big forehead here. Right, my forehead's very big these days. My wife makes fun of me. Okay, there it is, not so big anymore. So anyway, really nice move. And at this point, what's Netflix doing? Netflix is, up 5. Wow, nice follow through. What did Red Dog do? I sold mine yesterday, but 3 up days. It's good to see though. With the down market, things are still, doing what they want to do. And Netflix gave you that move. So I love when stocks play by the rules. If any of you guys have Netflix coming in, Netflix in the comment section, I had the options on the stock and I sold it at the end of the day. What I got to write down is I got to trail a little bit more, trail the last 25%. So seeing that Netflix, one of the mega cap that's still good, held the gap and went, I did buy Meta, and I also put that chart out early morning. When I put I always put an S&P chart in the public Twitter, but sometimes I also put another chart. That means it's kind of a focus and should take it seriously. Anyway, so Meta, Did get above 479. It did get above 485. It hit 488 and then pulled back a little bit. So Meta sometimes is tricky. I actually bought a little bit this morning. I'm still in half my options for next Friday, and I bought a little bit of the dip. So we'll see what happens with Meta. What's Meta doing right now? Netflix is this. It was down 3 before. Yeah, it's down 350. Not the end of the world. I'd like to see at least 474 hold. If this doesn't hold, then it becomes a pain in the you know what. But I'm going to try and stick with that. Amazon, I'm also trying to stick with carefully. You know, you could be long versus here. It went in. This gap used to be there. Now it's down here. So that's your new point of reference. There was more filings from Jeff. Oh my God, the guy sold a gazillion. He sold over 75% of what he's allowed to sell this year. So he's been leaning, and I think he's almost done. So don't lose track of this because it hasn't been doing so well. I do think, you know, there's a chance it can continue. So, but if it goes to here, then your risk no longer is defined. So that should be your out. Apple, which has not been the leader, actually reversed a little bit yesterday and gave you a small red dog reversal, right? What's a red dog reversal? Well, when you're pulling in from 91 and going lower and lower and lower and lower, finally got below a low, took it back, and then, you know, relieved some pressure. After hours, up like $1. I was like, red dog, you see Apple? I'm like, yeah. And I thank goodness I didn't chase it after hours because they said something about an AI tool. What's it doing this morning? It's down 90 cents. This is a candidate. I'd say it's a candidate that it can maybe go from red to green. So your risk is defined, right? This is your low from yesterday. Maybe it gives you divergence where the market comes in, it doesn't go in and tries to go green because it's a Friday and the buyback machine's on, etc. So Apple's a candidate, but anyway, it shouldn't be a focus. Really, the talk right now is SMCI. Every now and then, this kind of thing happens where a stock goes parabolic, and it has gone parabolic now. This, to me, look how extended it is from the 8-day. Wow, a lot of us spoke. You know, we picked little spots to carve out money, whether it was through options, through stock, and at this point, it's really gone further than anyone would have thought. I think. Right now, let's see where it is this morning. It's still up. It's at 1073. I was at, you know, a game yesterday with a lot of people, and I spoke to traders, and a lot more traders. I started to lose more than they made long because they started to fight this trend and get short and fight it because, oh, this shouldn't be happening. The market will do whatever it wants. You know, I actually lost a little sleep last night because I sold 1140 calls and 1160 calls into the close, thinking I should be fine. And now with this at 1073, I have 70 points worth of room. So hopefully, you know, I hate to use the word hope. Hopefully it kind of peaks out and gives you a little bit of a doji or something for a rest into Nvidia next week. But again, be careful. With these type of stocks, they can do whatever they want, okay? And you can ruin your month, your career with something like this. Even if you're an hour too early and you can't handle it. Just saying. Anyway, I kind of think Nvidia is set up again here. Nvidia used to be the crazy one to trade, and now it's like, you know, relaxed compared to SMCI. What's Nvidia doing right now? Let's see. Nvidia is it's hanging around 740. You know, I'm long a little Nvidia, and I think if it can get above 742 or 746 with volume and hold it and show relative strength, there could be another trade here. Could be. So that's a focus of today. Doesn't mean for you to go out and buy it right now, but I think I'm actually thinking like this is a hedge to be long this if this is going to go through to 1100 or so. But anyway, this has been a great trade. Earnings the next Wednesday. A lot could happen between now and next Wednesday. So, you know, use your risk tolerance either which way. Yesterday, I did tweet to you guys that I did reduce more ONON. Okay, this was a great trade. Okay, we were in it here. Put the $30 calls for $1.50. Bought a lot of stock. And then remember on Tuesday when the market was lower, it didn't come in. I'm like, wow, what relative strength here? And then it took off and hit 33.24. Okay, from 28. That's about 15% for a non-AI stock. Anyway, I'm down to very, very small options. I sold some at $4 and wasn't even an earnings play yet from $1.25. So that was cool. That helped. And I sold most of the stock. I'm still in both. If I could see a pullback a little bit towards here, which could happen, right? Then I would probably go out and buy a higher strike for earnings, and earnings aren't for a while here. But overall, it was a great trade. Actually, you know, gave it to, you know, who I'm not saying names, and, you know, he probably made more in it than I did. He said bought $1 million worth, and I let him know he should be at least down to half. But anyway, everyone does things different. You know, I have a tier system, which means I like to net money and let runners go. I use stops. So this way, if the trade changes, I can get out and have defined risk. I have my routine and process, and I'm up every day. I just don't come in and out based on my mood or how hungover I am. If I go out with the boys, you're still going to see me wake up, and I'm going to be up at 4:45 in the morning, making sure I'm prepped for the day, so you guys can be prepped for the day. But anyway, more one-off land. Let's see. You guys have any? You guys want to put anything up right now? Palantir. Palantir's been acting very well. I have very good memories here. Why do I have good memories? Because we bought a 17 by 19.5 call spread, made 200%. It was great. Some guys bought it versus pro earnings gap, and it looks like it could make another move here. 25.52. What's it doing this morning? PLTR is, it's down 30. That's just a nice little setup here. It's been strong. I think you can look at it, and if it goes from red to green and takes out this 25.50 area, it can continue. It's a little extended from the 8-day, but this is a leadership status stock also. Woke up. Sometimes what wakes up a new move? A big pro earnings gap, which is what happened here. So for those of you doing well, I know a lot of you guys have this as a core trade. That's cool. You are a planner. Yes, Jan, I'm a planner. I also switch gears real fast based on the action. I plan with things that are very, very sophisticated. If this happens, then do that. If that happens, then do this. Okay? It's not set in stone. The market's never set in stone. Same way, if you're playing for something to break out, it's got to get above and stay above. If you can't get above and stay above, the breakout's not valid. Same way, if you're playing for something to break down, it's got to get below a prior low and stay below. Otherwise, it relieves pressure. Those are 4 things that are part of my process. I've been doing it for 27 years. It doesn't sound so sophisticated. What I do yesterday, you know what? I did this yesterday. A lot of guys have been trading Goldman Sachs. I get it. This channel is very long. December 14th. What are we now? February 14th. So what is that? 2 months of sideways action. I mean, someone's accumulating this and driving a bunch of traders crazy, and I don't like to be driven crazy. So what did I do? I bought 390 calls for next Friday. So if it wants to finally break out here because enough people are tired. Remember, the same thing happened with the big range and some of the other ones. I have the options on, so I have no FOMO. If it doesn't happen, risk is premium paid. If it breaks out, I think there's a good risk reward there. What's Goldman doing today? It's probably down a little bit. Let's see, Goldman down $1.40. So some guys have said, "Hey, Red Dog, I'm just long. I'm long versus 374-ish because if it broke below it, that means this channel is to the downside." And I'll add again if it gets above 390, or I'll buy the 390s if all of a sudden it gets going fast. Then maybe I turn into a call spread and help that finance. If somebody wanted a new idea, this is a new idea that I put on yesterday that I think has a good benefit of the doubt if the market still hangs in there. Anyway, AMD has been a little tricky, but I think it's fine as long as AMD holds this 175 area. I think some traders will stay with it. It's been a little trickier. Sometimes it disconnects from the action of Nvidia and SMCI. It does what it wants to do on its own day. It's kind of like Avago, really. Avago, even though it's been a really good trade for a lot of people when it cleared 999 or even 1149, it's been very tricky within this range. So either you have to be long versus a spot or just make sure it gets above and stays above a spot if you're playing for momentum. All right, guys, I got to jump now. It's 9:14. I want to do a quick little video. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Market's closed Monday. So make sure you do something fun, little fitness, some friends, have some family. I'm actually visiting my mom on Sunday, and we go Sunday morning to Florida to see my mom and dad for 2 days. Go see your parents while you have them. Because one day they're not going to be here, and then you're going to not be able to see them. So do that. Anyway, hopefully Chase will come visit me someday when I'm, Anyway, with that said, good luck today. Use your tier system. Try not to be stubborn. Have your levels. If this, then that. If that, then this. And thanks for tuning in. I'll be doing a video at 2:30 with Mike. We've been doing it on Fridays lately. So, tune in then. We'll see where we are. And then maybe look ahead at the week in front. Oh, someone else said, what about China? Because I've been in China accumulating. I did put on some BABA calls for next week, just in case you want to come back in a buying mood. I bought some $75 calls for BABA for next week. I also accumulated some KWeb into this down move. I've sold some. I still have some about a month out, just in case China wants to get better. You have the Nikkei at all-time highs. So anyway, that's another thought. I like to give you guys thoughts, and then you make those thoughts your trades if you want to. If you don't, I hear you. And if you want to become on the Alpha team, we're all hanging out, doing trades, talking, and living life a little bit. It's good to have a good community, strong community with discipline that tries to enjoy life and also make some money, make a career out of this, and also prepare for the long term, either building wealth for retirement or maybe even a 529 plan with monthly flows so you can go to college and you don't have to take out big loans, and then hope that you'll get bailed out. Anyway, later, guys.